Sorry, I was drinking. So, yesterday we covered, the Battle of the River, in which all the Sassanid commanders got themselves killed in duels, and the Muslims once again win another victory. So today we're going to be covering the Battle of Walaja, or Waluigi. So we're going to be covering this battle now, and just seeing the Muslims, and yeah, just continue seeing their early battles. But overall, Khalid's kind of just kind of making the Sassanids look like chumps right now. So let's see if this trend continues. I'm like wondering if they're ever gonna lose. Like, I'm expecting now the Muslims just to win every battle and curb stomp everyone in their path. We'll see though. For now, let's get to the video, shall we?
After the victory at the Battle of the River, Khalid didn't cross into central Iraq, probably for a variety of reasons. Firstly, he needed to create a new administration in the region and start collecting taxes. Secondly, moving into the Sassanid Empire would have stretched his supply lines, and would have put him into territory with no Arab tribes. On top of that, Khalid liked to fight on the edges of deserts, which gave him the opportunity to outmaneuver his opponents when needed.
Okay, very smart. I was expecting him to, after defeating Karens, just to march in, but these were really practical and pragmatic reasons not to go forth. He needs to establish himself here, can't lose his supply line, and he knows his strength, and fighting by the edge of a river obviously has worked for him. So overall, very shrewd, very, very intelligent.
Commander established a new authority in the province, with its inhabitants starting to pay the jizya tax. Simultaneously, scouts from the local tribes were sent to the west and north to discover if the Sassanids had more armies nearby. As the Persian road and postal system were probably among the best of their time, the Shah learned about another defeat shortly after, and while Khalid was making his preparations, Yazdegerd ordered the troops from the northern and eastern parts of the empire to march towards the capital, Ctesiphon. A direct attack on the region controlled by Khalid was difficult, as the Arabs now controlled the crossings. So when the first army, commanded by Andarzaghar, arrived, it was sent towards the city of Walaja, the first strategic target on the road between Uballa and Al-Hira. It was expected that the Arabs would attack in this direction, so the remnants of the Sassanid forces which fought under Karins joined Andarzaghar, bringing his numbers to somewhere between 25 and 30,000 troops. This army took positions outside of Walaja sometime in May. The second army was led by one of the top commanders in the Sassanid army, Bahman, and it was supposed to reinforce Andarzaghar if the Muslims indeed decided to move to Al-Hira. For now, this force of 20,000 was to be stationed along the Euphrates, halfway between Uballa and Walaja. Meanwhile, Khalid's scouts, being from the local tribes, were able to gather information with impunity, so he seemingly knew about every enemy move.
Wow.
He decided that his smaller force needed to defeat one of the armies opposing him, and he could not allow them to reinforce each other.
Divide and conquer! So, yeah, we see this plenty of times, the divide and conquer strategy. Often, especially the most we'd seen it was during the Napoleonic Wars, where the French wouldn't allow their enemies to fully meet up, so they had to deal with them individually, and Khalid's gonna have to pull off that kind of maneuver, and that's smart. Obviously, two armies, he needs to take them on, so again, he has to divide and conquer. Again, he's been doing really well, and I'm looking forward to seeing how he's gonna pull this off.
So he left a minor garrison around Uballa and marched west, hoping to defeat Andarzaghar without alerting Bahman. Along the way, Khalid reinforced his army from the Arab tribes, which were now more eager to join his ranks, since the tax imposed by him was lower than the one they had to pay before, and that brought his
So many times in history we've seen how taxation has caused so many, like, frickin' rebellions and, like, allegiances change and, like, people breaking away from kingdoms and empires because of just taxing. Like, yeah, a very underrated part in history, but after seeing so many of these videos, like, yeah, taxation, it plays a big part in, like, keeping your administration and realm happy, right? Khalid seems to have pretty good intel, at least in his region. And, yeah, he's gonna have to move with speed. We do know that the Muslims definitely have speed on their side, and it was something even Karens and, like, the Sassanids took note of. So, again, that speed is ideal for something like, you know, dividing and conquering, right? Because you want to be faster than... Yo, I apologize. I just had a blackout in my area. Like, I just spent the last 10 minutes waiting for the power not to go off. It won't come across like that in the video because of editing, but holy crap. So, where was I? Oh yeah, you want, like, to be fast, right? Like, ideal for dividing and conquering. Again, as I said, like, we covered this a lot in the Napoleonic Wars. You know, maneuverability and speed is your ally, and oftentimes that could be a deciding factor. So if he can move quick enough, catch the enemy off guard, and then move on to the next in, like, basically lightning speed, ideal, you know. And we'll see if these commanders are, like, how competent they are. We know Khalid's kind of a beast right now, though I feel like he hasn't met his match in a sense of someone competent, a really competent enemy, you know? Guess we'll find out.
The goal was to destroy the army under Andarzaghar before Bahman could reinforce it. Although Bahman's army noticed the movement of the Arabs, they were much slower, so Khalid was able to reach Andarzaghar well before Bahman, sometime in the second half of May. According to the sources, Andarzaghar had enough room to maneuver and wait for Bahman along the river, but he was confident in his troops and kept his position. For almost a day, the two armies seemingly remained in their respective camps, within reach of each other, without attempting to start a battle. The Arabs were probably resting after their forced march, and the Sassanids were hoping that this wait meant they might be reinforced.
Yeah, so again, he just mentioned that the Sassanids right now had a chance to move and, like, regroup completely, meet up all together, which is exactly what Khalid is trying to prevent. So probably just waiting has given Khalid an opportunity, at least even if it's a slim one, to catch him by himself before he's reinforced, you know? So probably not a smart idea. Again, I'm predicting Khalid's about to catch him right now and defeat him, but we'll find out. Probably should have went and met up with the other commander, you know?
However, this wait couldn't last, since Khalid knew that he had to score a decisive victory before the second Sassanid army arrived.
Okay, he's moving right now in the night. I'm wondering if he's about to do a night attack, or if he's just positioning his troops so in the morning he catches the enemy off guard.
So on the next day, both forces formed up in standard formation with a center and two wings. The battlefield near Walaja was an even plain stretching between two low, flat ridges, which were about 1 kilometer away from each other. To the northeast was a barren desert, with the river Kasif running close to the eastern ridge. Both armies had the ridges behind them, meaning that an attack from the rear was not possible to begin with. The Sassanid leader was surprised to see the whole Muslim army was smaller than previously reported, and that it only consisted of footmen, which contradicted what he had heard about the crucial role Khalid's cavalry played in the previous battles. Despite that, he was convinced that his position was impenetrable and decided to wait.
So this Sassanid commander, I think, has made several errors already. First of all, probably not meeting up with his fellow commander when he had a chance, like as Kings and Generals stated a few minutes back. Probably not a good idea. He seems too overconfident in himself and his position. And now here, seeing that the cavalry is gone, my mind would be like, oh, he must have moved it. Like, again, granted, I don't want to act like I know better. I'm not. I wouldn't be a good commander at all in any era. But, you know, like, what I'm saying is, you think, like, that would be a thought, like, oh, he must have moved it. Or, like, he's probably trying to do something, you know? Like, he wouldn't just show up here with no cavalry, right? But instead, he's still so confident in his position, apparently, that seeing... Like, I feel like the thought would be, like, did he, like... Is he trying to do something? Did he move his cavalry, you know? So I feel like he's making some errors, and there are some red flags going on that he's ignoring. So yeah, I'm wondering if if he's about to engage, and he's hidden his cavalry force, because attacking from the rear, he just said is impossible, but from the side, perhaps a flanking maneuver? So I guess we'll find out.
Both armies knew that Bahman couldn't be too far away. Indeed, the Muslim commander ordered his entire army forward. Led by Khalid, who fought in the front rank, the army of the Caliphate charged into the enemy. For an hour or so, the two lines fought to a standstill, losing few warriors. But the Sassanids had the numbers, so their tired front line was replaced by the rear rank, which gave them the edge. Despite Khalid's personal martial skill, his troops were getting tired, so Andarzagh's counterattack started to push the Muslim troops back. Slowly but surely, the Sassanids advanced, while the Arabs were getting dangerously close to the ridge, which would have made any retreat impossible. At this point, Khalid gave a signal that changed the course of the battle. The cavalry that he sent into the desert during the previous night appeared on the eastern ridge behind the Sassanid army. This was Khalid's trademark move, as his mobile cavalry was able to hide in the deserts with ease. The advance of the Sassanid army away from its fortified position...
Holy crap. The man is playing chess right now! Holy crap. So, like... That's what... It's interesting that Kings and Generals mentioned that the Sassanid's commander, I'm not even trying to pronounce his name, I just keep calling him the Sassanid commander, but the Sassanid's commander position was, he couldn't be attacked from the rear, but Khalid managed to draw him away due to his overconfidence, right? All the way to where now he could be attacked from the rear. Holy crap. Holy crap, Khalid, like I said, he's playing chess right now. His enemies are playing checkers. He's about to use the flank. The oldest trick in the book. Holy crap.
Its rear was undefended.
Ooh, snap.
The light Arab horsemen charged.
That is so genius, man. Holy crap. Khalid is beyond impressive. I'm obsessed with him right now.
Lines, while Khalid's infantry lengthened their front to envelop the wings of Andarzagh's army. Minutes later, the Battle of Walaja was over. The Sassanid commander was dead, and his army was completely destroyed, with only 5,000 survivors managing to retreat from the field. Khalid's casualties were around 3,000. As Khalid's troops...
Holy crap, that is amazing. I'm debating if I should keep going and just watch 2 videos at once. Maybe jump into the Battle of Musea? You know what, no, I'll say that for tomorrow. I'll see you guys then. Bye everyone.